Welcome, everybody, to Somewhere in Vegas here on blogtalkradio.com. I'm Mark the Q. I'm your host. Just one guest today, but she's a really, really special guest. She has done a lot in terms of it. She's a double threat, triple threat, quadruple threat. As you see, her new music video is currently out for "I Need That," which the single is already out already, and she produces, writes, directs the series Loyalty as well. And there's a lot she does. So without further ado, let's get her on the line here. Desiree Mitchell, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you for that amazing intro. That was great.
Not a problem at all. How's everything going?
Everything's good. How are you?
I'm doing great. And where are you at right now? Are you on the West Coast, East Coast?
Yes, well, right now I'm on the West Coast, so I'm in Los Angeles. So, we're pretty close to each other.
Relatively. I'm pretty sure you've been out here, though.
I actually have not been to Vegas. I know that's crazy, but I've never been to Vegas before. So I definitely have to make that trip. I have to make that happen because I feel like I'm missing out,
Yeah, I mean, the club scene out here is really, really good, obviously. And once in a while, the clubs will bring in some guest celebrities and put out some of their music and all that to kind of get out to the fans, too. So that might be a little bit a promotional thing for you if you get out here. So, yeah, definitely, it's well worth the trip. But, being a local, I'm always off-strip usually, so that's just me. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you've been really, really busy as of late, obviously, with the new music video out and the new single out as well. I mean, how's been the reaction so far?
Oh yeah, I mean, my music video for "I Need That" is out right now. I've been getting really good feedback. I'm really happy about it. It hit 100,000 views on YouTube in less than a week, so that was pretty cool because this is I was trying something for the first time. I'm like, you know what? Let me put this music video out. This is the first music video in a long time, So I was happy to see that there's a lot of great feedback, and I have another song coming out next month, so I'm happy about that as well. So I can't wait, and it'll be another music video. So we'll see how that one does.
How was it? Well, was it for you to do a music video for the first time? I mean, was the concept yours or somebody else's? And what was it like just being on the set to be able to do a music video?
Well, yeah, so the concept was my concept. I know we'll get into it later, but, I wrote a TV show, so I'm very hands-on with writing and directing and just being a creator. So it's very important to me that even in my music, even in just everything I do, I have a hand in it creatively. So, it was I wrote the treatment for the video. I knew what I wanted. I knew how I wanted it. And I had a great team around me to just make it happen and make, the vision come to life. So I was excited about that.
What came first to you, the music or acting? What was the first thing that kind of caught your fancy when you were younger?
Well, I've been doing music since a little girl, 4. I was always singing and doing vocal lessons and all of that. So I would definitely say that music came first, and then around the time I was 10, 11, that's when I jumped into the TV film acting world, and I really fell in love with it as well. So a lot of times I get asked, oh, which one do you like more? But for me, it really goes hand in hand, and it's just me being an entertainer. So I just feel like I can do it all. Why just do one thing?
Both have their different challenges, obviously. It's kind of almost, I would say, comparing apples to oranges, as it were. But, I mean, obviously performing, you get that immediate kind of satisfaction, in getting the crowd versus probably watching an audience, after you've seen, they've seen an episode of your show and get the reaction that way too. So there is a kind of a difference in terms of the satisfaction right away versus maybe a little bit delayed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I feel like in the music industry, I guess until you get signed to a major label, it is a self thing. Everything is you put it out yourself. Everything is kind of like a self project versus, of course, you're still self-employed, but you go on audition and then you're on set, and then it's kind of just in their hands. All you have to do is worry about being on set and doing the acting job. But with music, I feel like it's much more legwork. in the music industry, but definitely each one has their own struggles and their own hard things about them because, you know, I've struggled in both areas for sure, and I appreciate both crafts equally. So, yeah.
Now, where are you originally from? Are you originally from L.A.?
No, so I'm from Miami, Florida. So I'm very southern, and I was born and raised in Miami. I was there until I was 18. So I moved to Los Angeles when I was 18 years old. I kind of just knew that I wanted to move to LA. You know, like it was always a thing for me. Like, yeah, I'm going to move to LA one day because I knew what I was doing from a very young age. I knew the career path that I chose. So yeah, I've been here I'm 20. I'm about to be 21 in August. So almost 3 years, you know, going on 3 years now.
Well, I mean, that's cool because, I mean, when you turn 21, it's going to be a lot more enjoyable experience coming out here to Vegas then.
Right,
so.
yeah, honestly, I've been kind of waiting to be 21, you know? Like, you know what? Like, why go before 21?
How is the acting jobs out there in Miami? I know Atlanta's right now a huge hotbed of acting outside of Los Angeles right now, but you know, how was it for you to get acting jobs out in Miami, or were you were you getting any acting jobs at all?
Yeah, so in Miami, it's very far and few between. So I signed to my first acting agency in Miami when I was 11, and then like I was working as much as I could. You know, I definitely felt like I had exhausted all of my opportunities in Miami, which is why like, you know, I ended up moving at 18. But yeah, it's just kind of like in Miami, you know, yes, you can sign to an agency and you can do everything right, but it's still not as much work, obviously, as LA. And like I kind of just had to, you know, if something happened to be shooting in Miami, like, whoa, that's like a big deal, you know. So it was definitely a struggle for me just trying to build my resume and stuff like that because it's just not a lot of work in the TV film world. Music is kind of great in Miami, but yeah, in the TV film world, it's just not the same, you know.
Yeah, I mean, how many instruments do you play actually?
Well, I play the piano and I want to learn guitar. So my engineer that I work with out here, you know, that records me, he is a great guitar player. Like I want to learn from him. So I feel like the more instruments you play, you get better. Your voice gets better. You just become way more musically inclined. So my instrument use right now is pretty basic, but I definitely want to expand on that for sure.
Yeah, and you can get the kind of the bigger picture of what you want in terms of a songwriter, you know. I mean, if you have a basic tune down, but, you know, you add in those drums, you add in that bass, and, you know, it kind of fills out the sound a little bit more, you know. So I know how that is.
Yes, for sure.
The musicians I've talked to over the past year. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's great to be able to have that capability as well. When you write music, I mean, do you find it usually that the tune comes first, the lyrics come first, or is it a little bit about 50-50?
Well, for me, I work with producers, so usually I already have the beat, you know, like I have the actual instrumental, if you want to call it, to the song. So then I'll start doing melodies. Usually, I personally will start to think of melodies first, and then I'll write. But most of the time, I already have in my head what I want to talk about because I'm an R&B singer. So like usually I'm talking about love or a particular situation. So like however I'm feeling that night. Usually I'm in the studio at night, but however I'm feeling that night, I know, okay, this is the kind of song I want to make. So let me write, you know, about that topic. So yeah, I kind of just already know what I want to talk about, and then I just put it together and make it a song format.
Did you learn a lot when you first came into the studio? I mean, you know, obviously performing behind the mic is one thing, but you know, kind of being at the board and seeing what engineers and producers do in terms of what their jobs are. Did you learn a lot about that?
Yeah, so like the first professional song that I ever recorded, I believe I was like 10 years old, and it was definitely a learning experience just being that young and seeing the process of it all and knowing, because you know, as a little girl I love Beyoncé and I love, all of these amazing artists. So I'm just seeing the glitz and glamour of when they perform or when their song is on the radio. But to really be in the studio, especially that young, and to see like, okay, no, this is a lot of work, So yeah, it's very inspiring as well to see everyone's different jobs come together, and then it makes the magic of a hit song. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Now, with that in mind, I mean, do you prefer more of an intimate crowd to do a lot of your pieces, or would you like a little bit bigger crowd in terms of it? Maybe an intimate club setting versus maybe a more raucous, bigger party kind of setting.
Well, I haven't gotten a huge crowd yet because, I'm going to now start performing and doing my current music. So I haven't even gotten a chance to experience like a huge stadium or, something of that magnitude. So I have only really done kind of like intimate crowds, and I think it's really dope. And I think that you can definitely connect more. You can see people's faces in the audience. But I feel like I would also really love huge crowds as well. So I'm excited to experience that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it sounds like you may be doing at least a little touring, even just in the area coming up. I mean, is that something that you're expecting to do later this year?
Yeah, for sure. I'm, coming out with an EP in a couple of months. So, like, I'm definitely going to be pushing the EP and the singles, just every radio station. I want to be at every radio station promoting. And I definitely want to tour for sure. I mean, performing live, there's really nothing like it. It's nothing like that feeling of performing live. And, like I said, I'm open to intimate audiences. I'm open to huge audiences. I think it's an honor to be in front of a huge audience, So, yeah, I'm kind of just excited to experience that and excited to start the whole performing thing as it relates to this project.
Was there any artists that you grew up on that you particularly were fond of or kind of see as kind of influences when it comes to your music?
So it is cliche, but I definitely grew up on Beyoncé. I have been a huge fan since like Destiny's Child, and I was always inspired by Beyoncé because I think she's an amazing performer. Really, there's no performer like her. And her artistry in itself is so unique, and she's such a trendsetter in the music industry. So she definitely has influenced my sounds. I also love Drake. I think Drake is someone that's really unique and has a heavy influence in the music industry. I'm also a fan of like oldies music, so I love 90s R&B. I love 80s R&B. I love Aaliyah. I love a lot of like just old songs that people my age probably shouldn't even know, but I just love I love old music because I feel like it was more raw, it was more vocals involved, it was more kind of like talent involved back then because you didn't really have all the things that you could do to your voice in the studio. You just kind of raw, you're just singing, So yeah, I love that.
I know Toni Braxton does a residency out here, so I know you would probably enjoy seeing her if you end up coming out here. But yeah, you kind of make me feel a little bit old because you're saying this is old music, 80s and 90s. I see the stuff that I grew up on. So
right,
yeah,
well, like for me, since I'm 20, a lot of my peers aren't really fond to 80s music or so it's kind of like I feel like wow, I'm definitely different.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, have you had the opportunity to see Drake or Beyonce live in concert at all?
Yes, I did. It was amazing. I've actually seen Drake and Beyonce live, and Beyonce is, I guess, more comparable to me in a sense that she's a woman, she's a Black woman, she's a singer and all of that. So it's definitely when I watch Beyonce, not only is it an amazing experience that I feel like everyone should experience, but I feel like it's more so like I can look at her and feel like, oh, I can do that too. Versus Drake, I mean, he is a male, he is a rapper, but I still feel like his sound is so unique and has heavily influenced R&B singers to come after him, rappers to come after him. I just feel like, like I said, he is a trendsetter, so even him performing live is still like a rush of, I feel like he's a great performer as well. It's just obviously a different kind of performer than Beyonce, but it's still really high energy. And I appreciate that because a lot of rappers don't bring it to the stage, but I feel like Drake does.
Yeah, now let's turn over to your acting and Loyalty. I mean, how did that project come about?
Yeah, so Loyalty is a show that I wrote, and I started writing that about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. So, first it was really a small idea. It was just like, you know what, because I'm a content creator, so, easily I could think of something to post on Instagram or something to post on YouTube. So at first, Loyalty was like a small idea, like, maybe it could be a YouTube series, maybe it could be an Instagram series, maybe it could be 10-minute episodes. So it kind of just started to grow and grow and grow because the story is so, I feel like the story is so unique and it requires it requires it to be a full show. So before I knew it, it was like hour-long episodes, And then I kind of just wanted to get it to perfection on the script before I filmed it or brought it to actual production. And then, I got an amazing team. We all really pulled it off, and it was a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, how was it for you to go through the casting process? And tell me a little bit about working with the actors.
Yeah, so it's crazy because this is the first project that I've been behind. Usually I'm an actress and I just go to the auditions and then, I either get it or I don't. And then if I get it, I'm just on set or, so it's like usually I just have one job. But with Loyalty, I wear many hats. I directed, I casted, I wrote it. So the casting process itself was really inspiring just to see from the other ends of the spectrum, like, oh, wow, these actors are really coming in and they are killing it. So it was kind of even hard to cast. And then I realized, wow, so I don't know, it kind of just made me feel like as an actress moving forward, not to be so hard on myself or be so in my head or nervous when it comes to a casting. Because it's like, it's just a casting, So it kind of made me feel it kind of eased my mind a little bit as it relates to me auditioning in the future. And also the actors that I ended up choosing, like my cast is amazing. Everybody brought it. Everybody made me as a writer and director even more inspired. Like, I know what I wrote, but like they brought it to a different level. So I see what it's like in the director's shoes and like working with amazing actors is so inspiring. It really is.
Yeah, I mean, and just the experience of doing directing, obviously, you kind of get a different perspective in terms of that as well. And, obviously you're kind of, getting from some of the acting experiences as well. So it must have been a good challenge for you to be a director.
Oh, yeah, it is because, as a director, you want the best product that you can make. You want the production, you want the show, you just want it to be the best thing that it could be. And, as a director, you're kind of like the person that has to say so. So it is kind of like, on set, making sure, did we really get the shot? Like, I don't know, it's just a lot to think about as a director. That is the biggest hat to wear on set. So it is a lot of pressure, but, like I said, when you're working with amazing actors, they make your job so much more easier. And, I'm also starring in the show, so I definitely wore a lot of hats. And for my scenes that I was actually in, I had a co-director, and he was really amazing. So I definitely we had a great team.
And probably what was the most challenging part of taking the director's position?
Making the right choices, or like making sure that you're making the right choices. So even like when it comes to the casting process, making sure like it has to be the right choice what actor you choose. And the way you give these actors direction on set, like it has to be just the right choice. Like I said, that's the biggest hat to wear. So when you're doing a scene, if it's a super sad scene, you got to make sure you're giving the actors the right direction and making the right choice. As a director, since it's up to you to really pull this scene off the best it can be. So it is kind of like, So I don't know. It's kind of like you just want to. I was watching like a lot of shows that I love too, and kind of seeing, and watching directors' interviews and stuff, and seeing like how they make their choices and how they do things. So it is just like a lot of pressure of, dang, I just want this to be great because I'm the director. So this really, this depends on me, So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just making sure that you're making the right choices with everything that you tell the actors to do, with even the actors that you choose. So yeah, that's pretty much what's tough about it.
Oh, even with that, I mean, just having a cast and to be able to direct a TV series, that means that they get used to you and you get used to them. So there's definitely a better communication once you get the first couple episodes in the can. That
right.
What's expected. So it's very interesting. It's a very interesting situation in terms of this as well. I mean, what's been the reaction to the series?
Well, right now we're in post-production, so we're getting it edited. The only people that have seen it so far are, like, the people involved in the project. Not even the actors have seen it, so just, like, the people involved in the crew, I would say. And we're getting it together, and it's really, really good. And, we're really excited. And I actually did post a behind-the-scenes vlog on YouTube, and a lot of people were even loving the behind-the-scenes, like, oh, my God, this looks so good. So they're definitely going to love when the actual show comes out. And I'm excited about it. We want to do a screening in maybe August for the cast and crew. And then after that, we will figure out what we're going to do with the show as far as distribution and who we want to partner with to distribute the show. I really want to do Netflix. Netflix is definitely on my radar. The show is really gritty, and I want to do a platform that will allow me to keep my creative control and, just a very creator-friendly kind of platform, and Netflix is very creator-friendly. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it must have been kind of thrilling for you to just to see the dailies, throughout this whole process. And obviously, you said you're post-production, so you're obviously looking at rough cuts of the series and all that as well. So it must be part of it must be thrilling, and part of it must be a little bit, maybe I could have done this better, or maybe I could have done this a little bit better, and then the editors can go back and take a look at that as well. So yeah, it must be an interesting process for you.
Oh yeah, it's definitely post-production. I feel like is the most intense part of any production, because this is the part where even if you did make mistakes on set, you can kind of fix this in post-production. So it's kind of the part of the production where you can fix your mistakes, and you really just, post-production and the way that something is edited, even if it's an amazing script, if it's an amazing cast, the way it's edited is really important. Like, it could be edited not well, and then it's not as good as it could have been. So, you definitely want to make sure you get great editors. You get editors that you have great chemistry with, and that understand your vision. And post-production is really intense. It's like your last chance. That's how I feel. Like, it's just my last chance to make this great.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. So we hopefully get to look to that next year, maybe getting distributed somewhere, hopefully Netflix. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if you're going to bring it into any festivals or anything like that too, but it might be an option. But I think it's great to be able to see this as well. I mean, it's a huge undertaking to be able to create your own show if you don't have a network behind you in terms of that.
Right.
Netflix didn't upfront you the money at all for this project.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of goes. Before we leave, I got to talk about Scoliosis Warriors that you're a part of, and you have suffered from scoliosis as well. Tell me a little bit about the organization and what you've been doing as an advocate for that organization.
Yes. So scoliosis, I was diagnosed with scoliosis when I was like 11, and I ended up getting spinal fusion surgery to correct it. So as we stand right now, yes, my back is straight, but I do have a rod in my back because scoliosis, there's no cure for it. So the only way to kind of correct it is to have a rod in your back so it can stay straight, you know. So my job, I feel, as with the platforms that I have, I feel like it's really to educate people on scoliosis because a lot of people don't really understand it. And, you know, that's okay. I feel like that's what I'm here for. And when I was 16 to 17, I did a lot of pageants. I was doing pageants in South Florida. So, you know, I had this platform to really speak about certain things. And about a year prior to starting pageants, that's when I started my support group / organization. You know, I wanted to evolve into like a full-blown charity. Definitely, that is my next step. But for now, I've done charity work. You know, I've done a few things, and my goal really is to not only educate people on scoliosis, but to help people pay for their surgeries. The surgery is not cheap. It's like a $100,000 surgery. You know, I was lucky enough to have insurance that covered it, but not everyone does. Everyone has different situations, you know, so I definitely want to be that person. And once my organization turns into a full-blown charity, I want to be able to definitely just pay for people's surgeries and pay for people's physical therapy or whatever it is that they need, you know, as it relates to scoliosis. So for me, I feel like it's a disease that people don't talk about a lot, you know. So yeah, I want to be that person, and I feel like it's really dope that I went through that. You know, it was something hard, especially that young, but I'm happy. It definitely, you know, made me who I am today, and I am, you know, I'm not ashamed of it. It's something that I want to talk about. So yeah, and what's crazy is when I first like started kind of my organization, I put it on social media. I have an Instagram for it, which is Foley Warriors. But I did not know how many people had it. I mean, I guess I knew people had it, but it's crazy when people come together. And like, I was so surprised at the feedback of like, oh my God, this is happening to me, or even parents coming to me like, oh my God, my daughter or my son, you know. So it's just crazy. Like, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, you know, it was, I think, you know, back, I would still say back in my day, back when I was growing up, that was something that they checked very, you know, a lot, you know, to see if somebody had scoliosis. Whenever you went through an examination of some sort, you know, that one of the things they do is they check to see if your back is straight and to make sure that that wasn't going to be the situation. So yeah, I mean, it's I think, yeah, it does get kind of, you know, put under the radar as of late because there's so many other you know, horrendous diseases that are out there, but it's still important. I mean, you know, especially, and I think the science is starting to catch up now too, in terms of you know, what we can possibly do as well. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of new technologies we get, and maybe we can cut down that you know, $100,000 bill down to a minimal amount of bill. You know, there's always certain technologies that are out there as well. So that'll be interesting to see, you know, to see how everything kind of by that.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like as we go on and, you know, we get further in science and technology, I do feel like we'll get further as it relates to scoliosis. For me, I just feel like you know, even if you get checked in school, it's just not enough. People don't talk about it enough, because I actually did get checked in 7th grade, and that was when it was actually 6th grade, and I had already like had my surgery planned and stuff, but I couldn't opt out of that test. Like, I still had to do it. But I remember being like the only person or me and one other person in my grade having it, and mine was severe and theirs were really mild, you know. So it was still like it was such a huge ratio, you know. So a lot of people just didn't get it, and for the people that do end up getting diagnosed with scoliosis, especially when it's severe, you know, it can be fatal. It can be over the time, you know, crush your organs and you know, cause breathing problems, and just there's so many problems that can come from it. You know, I feel like people don't understand that it is when severe enough, it's a very serious thing, you know. So I want to be that person to educate people on that, for sure.
And the world is getting a lot smaller in terms of the fact that people can communicate now, and there's opportunities to see what's going on in other countries. Scoliosis doesn't just happen in the United States; it happens worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
So we're seeing,
Yep.
we're seeing more people kind of raise their hands in other countries, saying, yeah, this is something that's what's going on with me. I'm pretty sure, you may be getting a couple people from the outside the United States, so in other countries,
Yeah.
contacting you.
Yeah, it's all over. It's just it's definitely not a U.S. thing. It's just a human thing, So everyone everywhere is affected by this, and a lot of times, since scoliosis is not that talked about, people don't know what to do. It's like, oh my God, wait, what do I do? It's just a kind of thing that people sometimes ignore because they don't think it's a big deal or they don't know what to do. It's just, a lot of people are just uneducated on it, So I just want to be that person that lets people, that educates people on it, that talks about it, that helps people get through it, that has this charity. Like, I want my charity to be huge, like I want it to be just as big as any other disease out there with their huge charities. I feel like scoliosis deserves that. And, I love all causes. I love that we have things for every disease out there, but I definitely feel like this is the cause that particularly affects me. So it's something that I feel very strongly about, since it really, actually affects me.
Yeah. I mean, you have a lot on your plate, so let's kind of run down everything right now. We're waiting on loyalty. Your new single and video are dropping next month. That's going down as well. Is there any other projects coming out? Any acting projects that you're doing? That'll be coming out soon.
Yeah, that's funny because on July 13th, I believe, there will be a new app out called the Zeus app, and my friends King Batch, Dave Storm, Amanda Cerny, they are huge influencers. They do comedy, and they do they're content creators on social media, and they're coming out with an app called the Zeus app. So it'll be a new streaming service app, kind of like Netflix, but on your phone. And there will be a lot of originals on there, and I'm in one of the originals. It's a show called Bad Escorts. It's a really, really, really funny show. And, I'm excited because this is like a new thing that's coming out, like a phone thing, because everyone's always on their phone 24/7. So for an app to come out with like original TV shows and stuff like that, it's going to be really, really, really dope. So I'm excited about that. That's going to be July 13th, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I believe that the app comes out then. It's a monthly subscription. It's $3.99 a month, so it's actually cheaper than the other, streaming services. And, so I'll be in a show called Bad Escorts, and it's a really dope comedy. And, I'm not a comedian, but I can be funny with direction. So I was, just around a bunch of amazing comedians on set, and my character is pretty funny. So it's very much different from Loyalty in a sense. Loyalty is an extreme drama, and that's usually what I'm really good at. But I was definitely able to step out of my shell and be funny for once. So I'm excited about that. And, so that's something that's coming out very soon. And, so everyone can download the app.
Yeah, I mean, comedy is always a little bit harder to do than drama, because you have to have that timing. So it has its challenges. So
I feel like comedy is so hard. Like, I really feel like comedians are the most talented people ever because, even when I go to stand-up comedy shows, I could never, I just don't. That's some talent, to be funny. I feel like being funny is really a talent. So, of course, when you're doing a scripted show, you can be funny with direction and extreme coaching. And that's kind of what I had to do. I had to really take the direction of these other comedians that I was around on set. And I definitely got it done. I'm proud of myself, but they have just a raw talent to be funny. They're just witty. They could just be funny if you just say, hey, be funny right now. They can just do it, That is talent to me.
Yeah, yeah, it's great to be able to see. We'll hopefully get to be able to see your comic chops coming up in July as well. Official Desiree on pretty much all the social media platforms, correct?
Yes, so Official Desiree is my Twitter, my Instagram, and also my website is officialdesiree.com. You can check that out and all of my updates and kind of just find me on all things. And, yeah, my Facebook is The Real Desiree because someone took Official Desiree. I was so mad. But everything pretty much is Official Desiree, and you'll be able to find my Facebook through my website and, my other social media platforms. But, yeah.
Yeah, you can check out when a bunch of these projects drop. Obviously the new single and and where to purchase the new single and the single that's out right now. I Need That. You guys can check out where you can buy that as well as watch the video as well. So I believe that's everything we needed to cover. Like I said, you're a very busy person.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Not a problem at all, and definitely we'll have to get you back on a little bit later. Hopefully, when we find a place for loyalty, maybe we'll get kind of an announcement from you on that as well. So, best of luck to you. Hopefully after your birthday, you can make it up here to celebrate. So,
yes, hopefully, yes.
Yeah. Again, yeah. Just thank you for being on the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Official Desiree, that's Desiree, for all the social media and on her website. So make sure you guys check her out. Really talented actress, really talented singer. It'll be interesting to see what kind of goes on in the next year. It's been kind of crazy. We only have a few minutes left. I'm going to mention that no show next week. We're taking a week off. I'm going to be on the road. Speaking of which, I think a week from Sunday we're going to be doing a special episode. It'll be a Sunday night.